Back in 1925, William Jennings Bryan capped his long career as a crusader for Christian values by upholding the state of Tennessee's law banning the teaching of evolution at the famous Scopes monkey trial. Despite a scathing attack on his creationist views, Bryan prevailed. Scopes was fined $100. Within 4 years, 37 anti-evolution bills had been introduced in 20 states. It had a chilling effect on the teaching of evolution and the publishers of science textbooks. For decades, Darwin seemed to be locked out of America's public schools. But then, evolution received an unexpected boost from a very unlikely source: the Soviet Union. In 1957, Americans were horrified to learn that their Cold War communist rivals had beaten the U.S. into outer space with the launch of the satellite called Sputnik. The space race was on. Scientific education became a national priority, and as long-neglected science programs were revived in America's classrooms, evolution was too. Biblical literalists have been doing their best to discredit Darwin's theory ever since.
The Genesis flood is the foundational document for creation science. Everything else has been built upon this book. He makes a number of claims in here that you can somehow find scientific evidence to demonstrate that the earth was created like a literal reading of Genesis says.
The Genesis flood was an inspiration to creationists. In 1981, Louisiana Senator Bill Keith proposed a law requiring the teaching of creation science wherever evolution was taught.
Scientific creationism is pure science and is just as unreligious as the teaching of evolution science. And also that it's an abridgment of academic freedom for our school children not to be given all the scientific evidences regarding origins.
Over opposition from educators, the Louisiana legislature passed the law. Creation science and evolution became classmates. But in 1987, the Supreme Court ruled that teaching creationism alongside evolution violated the First Amendment's separation of church and state. In his opinion for the majority, however, Justice William Brennan wrote that alternatives to evolutionary theory can be taught if they have a scientific basis.
What Justice Brennan wrote in the 1987 decision was that, of course, teachers have a right to teach any and all scientific views about the origin of humans or any other scientific theory, and that's absolutely true. And what he said was any and all scientific views. Now, of course, one reason why the creationists have worked so hard to try to present their ideas as being scientific is so they can duck under the First Amendment.